Welcome, everyone. This is After Dark on Red Spotlight. I am joined here by Peter Martinez. We just finished watching Pixar Animation and Walt Disney Studios' The Incredibles 2, written and directed.
It's just Incredibles 2.
It is? Oh, that's right. Incredibles 2, directed by... written and directed by Brad Bird. I'm getting fact-checked here in real time. And it's as perfect as you thought it would be. Okay.
The film or the fact-checking?
The fact-checking.
Okay.
Well, please, someone go first.
There's two people here. Don't even try that bullshit.
Well, we should preface this by saying that we've had kind of a checkered history in terms of our response to, in particular, the Pixar sequels. If you've listened to any of our podcasts, we have a long history, a long history to be qualified as a library at this point, of conversations about Pixar post 2010, which would be after Toy Story 3. And we've had very heated conversations, in fact, about Pixar taking this direction into sequels. But I think throughout the course of time, we've come to the conclusion that we prefer, by far, original films from Pixar. Because if you look at that stretch from, 1995 to 2010, with the exception of 2 movies, they were all originals. And that's really had their biggest streak, and that body of work is what they're known for to this very day. And since then, there has been a noticeable dip in quality. The sequels haven't been terrible, but they haven't really, as I think Peter would say, justified their existence in most cases.
The only 2 films I think stand up to this, what I consider the Pixar quality, were original films in Inside Out and Coco.
And to be fair, though, there were other original films that weren't quite as good.
Yes.
So,
but the only ones that were good were original.
Right. Good by a relative.
By my terms.
By your terms. I enjoyed Monsters University. I didn't think it was necessary, but I enjoyed it. I think we all know I loved Finding Dory. I think it's a great sequel, and I think yes, I think it's a great sequel, and I think it goes hand in hand with the original. I think as far as Incredibles 2 is concerned, here we are. Mr. Martinez had some bold predictions.
I made a prediction from the very beginning that you were going to love it. And I just always love hearing how I'm right, so...
Well, I didn't say any words. I think people here are implying certain things that haven't been stated on the record, because this is a camera and it's recording what we're saying.
That's true.
But nothing has been on the record. So, as the esteemed host in this particular setting, I am essentially clearing the field for Mr. Martinez to start off talking about this film, because I have elected to not say a single word about this film. And don't worry, your answer's not going to affect what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So go ahead.
You know what? It works out perfectly. Because you don't know. Let me tell you why. Because either one of us that went first, I would still be right. Because what I thought I would feel about this film is pretty much what I came out feeling after I saw the trailers. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, this and this and this and this and this is going to be the film. And then when I saw the film, I'm like, yep, that's what it is. It's not a bad film. In fact, I think it's a fairly good film. It's has some pretty great laughs sprinkled within, and I think it's overall very much an enjoyable experience. The story, I'm just like, didn't need to be told. I'll put it that way. And it's kind of, I don't know, it wasn't necessary in my eyes. And I just kind of didn't care about the story. Like, I loved the characters and just kind of seeing them again and them interacting and the humor and the use of powers and, the action scenes were really well done, and they're really creative with the way they use, like, everything except the story itself I really gave a shit about. But the story's kind of a big chunk of what the film is. But even with that, it's not like it's a terrible story. It's just sort of an unnecessary one in my eyes. So at the end of the day, it's still positive, but it's still like, Not necessarily what I would have loved to see out of an incredible sequel, but I knew that going in, so I was just having a good time.
Well, as far as I should probably note that amongst our crew, if we're going to call ourselves a crew at this point, which
a posse. I say posse.
More like a nuisance.
Okay.
Among our gang, let's just stop trying.
Stop trying. Our murder.
We all love Pixar, and we all have our favorites, and we all have our least favorites.
Yeah. Some of us are right, some of us are wrong, Alexis.
Well, that's a relative term. Well, not in that term.
Not in that situation.
Not in that situation. Somebody is completely wrong when it comes to that. But I probably should say that The Incredibles, the first film, has ever been a favorite of mine. Not to say that it's not great. I think it's actually a great film, the first Incredibles movie. But it's never been one that's particularly touched my palate, even to this very day. And that's weird because I think apparently throughout the years, I think I've evolved as the go-to comic book like lover of film. Like there's hardly a comic, unless it's DC, of course, because they're terrible films. But usually, because every time we talk about like movies these days, like you always like joke like just slap a Marvel logo on it and you'll love it. Like,
yeah, because that's all you need.
Right, literally. And I don't deny that. I mean, that's the truth. It could. But it is kind of weird that I'm just realizing that is like among my least favorite Pixar films. Not taking any away from it. I think it's still a great movie and I enjoy it. I even saw it recently to get in time for this one. And I would probably put that on the fact that I never really saw it when I was growing up, I think. Not until not like recently. I saw it when I was like, I would say like maybe 5 years later. When it came out in the theater. So, right in between Nemo and Cars. I would say. Okay, yeah. And again, this is where the disgust will come in from you. Even though Cars is not a very good movie. And especially,
you liked it more?
Well, yeah, because there's more nostalgia toward that because I experienced that.
Nostalgia's a bitch, ain't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, ask Mr. Kyle Lira. Apparently, it really bit him today. Yeah. So, that being said, walking out of this, actually going in, I was kind of quite reserved. Because I kind of agreed with your take on the trailers. And it just looked like we're going to do the wash, rinse, repeat cycle of, well, here we have a Pixar sequel. It'll probably be decent to good. And it won't live up to the original or come close to it. But most people will probably like it. I'm very conflicted right now as to how to feel about this because I will say that I loved my experience.
Yes.
I think it is a very entertaining time at the movies.
It's absolutely entertaining.
And
you should go see it.
Right. And I didn't expect it to be as funny as it was.
Those some really good jokes.
There were some
that got me off
and
guard.
Great laughs too.
Yeah.
Especially what they do with Jack here. It kills every time. And
I told you at one point it basically became Looney Tunes.
Right.
I was having fun with all that stuff. So
yeah. So there's a lot of great stuff, as you said, sprinkled into this. And I would probably guess that most people would walk away from this very much satisfied and very much entertained.
I don't think we're most people. I think most people would be like, oh yeah, lived up to the hype. And
I think, it's also interesting because I would say that a lot of these people, well, at least from our screening, a lot of the people were adults. Teenagers to adults.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You were afraid.
I was having an anxiety attack
of
walking
kids ruining the experience. I was more afraid of the adults ruining the experience because I think they were worse than the children.
You did not live through Finding Dory.
Okay.
That was a horrendous experience. One that is actually an Afterdark on, where Kyle goes off for the first 15 minutes, yelling into the camera about how awful. Not the movie was. The movie was great, but how awful the children were. In that particular experience.
You're beating around the bush a lot. You're not telling me your feelings on this.
Well, I just told you I'm kind of conflicted about it.
Okay.
So it's like, part of me loved it. But part of me also like, well, I can't really say that it's the first movie. In terms of like the substance that was there. Because you're right. The story didn't need to be told. And yet at the same time, I know you have your own like theories, but
Yeah.
it's hard, I guess, to knock it because I mean that is, I guess, the next story you would tell with this series.
Are we gonna do spoilers?
Well, we're gonna get into it right
Okay.
now. But I just want to like give you my feelings. Is that overall, I would say go watch it.
Oh yeah,
I recommend
would
it.
too.
I think it's a great time. Bring your family. If you love The Incredibles, I think it's hard that you won't love this. I can't be the person to say that I love this franchise. I think you like it more than I do. The first Incredible movie.
Yeah, I do.
And I think you
Even
love the
though
characters.
I hate what's his name syndrome.
Yeah, you hate spelling. Well, that's a whole other
That's
thing.
a whole discussion.
But I would say that if I think we've all been waiting 14 years. Well, not we. I'm not in that crowd. Most people have been waiting 14 years to see Incredibles 2. And if all you're looking for is to see these characters again, they're back, and I think they're all great. I think they're, honestly, that's for me, the most entertaining part about why this movie exists, is to see these characters again. So, I'd give it a thumbs up for the most part. I think it's a good movie. I think you agree, for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay, spoilers.
Okay.
Peter.
I want to tackle what you said, the logical conclusion for the story.
You disagree, apparently. I think you do.
Yeah.
'Cause you feel like this could have been handled better.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the whole, like, Mr. Mom thing with Mr. Incredible, that's so on the nose. I wouldn't expect of them to go to that route.
Okay.
Like, I really thought they would have done something better.
How was the execution, though? For what it was?
Again, it was fine. You know, it was fun stuff, but the film itself is limited by the story. It can never break greatness because the story it just doesn't really matter that much. Like the whole issue with like Violet and
The boy.
Yeah. I don't care.
It was fun though. It was fun.
It provided funny situations, but as a story, it's like I don't care. Like I don't need to see this. Dash doing math. Okay.
Yeah, there was nothing for Dash.
There was nothing, and then the whole thing. Again, all there was to Mr. Incredible's story this time was
being a good father.
Being Mr. Mom, and it's like there was so much more, going on in that first Incredibles, like real deep family drama that was great, And with this, it's almost like if they made a straight to video Incredible sequel, this would be the story they would use.
But the quality
is movie,
right?
Is like theater level execution, but like the story outline it feels like back in the day when they were like, oh, we were gonna do a straight to DVD
movie sequel,
and then they should just sort of stash it in a drawer. So then when they finally got back to doing one in the theaters, they opened the drawer, dusted off the story treatment, and then Brad Bird gave it a rewrite. So it's high quality, the story, but it's just not a story I give a shit about, Like the whole thing of like Elastigirl and the Screenslaver. I was like, I know where this was going, like the second the movie started. And then the whole time it's just like, yeah, the action scenes were really well done, but it's like, I know what's happening. Like, we don't need to spend so much time on this. And there was like all these scenes where like her and what's her name were talking, and I was kind of droning out. I was like, we get it. Like they're gals and stuff, and it's like, Plus, I like the whole thing of like bringing supers back. I don't know. I just feel like the last movie ended really well, in which they're like, oh, Violet, learned to have self-confidence. Dash found his place. They all came together as a family. And then this movie's like, psych! No, they didn't. Like, literally. It feels like Arrested Development. Like, what's his name? Ron Howard. Like, right after, like, freeze frame. They all were a happy family. they weren't, you know, and then immediately jump cut, and it's like, oh, Violet's back to losing that self-confidence, and Dash is just being Dash again. They really have nothing for him. And then, you know, again, literally the story is learning to be a family, and it's like, well, we did that the first time, you know. So it's a lot of the same shit. And I know this will make you laugh. It was very Finding Dory to me.
Oh, I agree.
It was very.
I agree.
But I knew that from the beginning.
Right.
That's why I said I thought you were gonna love it.
Right.
That's why I said that.
You mean it in a bad way. That's the thing. I think of it in a different way, and I agree though. I think there was a lot of it that felt very much like Finding Dory, in terms of, like, I guess the story and then how it went and everything. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I think I can't really. There's something I can say that can dispute any of that. I think these are actual, real criticisms that, again, doesn't seem that most people are going to point out.
No one's going to care.
No one's going to give a shit, really. And I think this is part of the reason why I predict I'm going to be very bitter about this film.
Okay.
Is because this is kind of essentially a Finding Dory, right? Like
Basically.
a sequel. And this is going to be much, much more beloved.
Yeah.
And much more appreciated and much more respected. And you can all go to hell. And you can all go to hell. Because essentially we're talking about...
Okay, but my thing is, I enjoyed this one more than Finding Dory.
Yeah. I can't say the same.
Okay.
But then again, I have more nostalgia.
You have a real connection to Finding Dory. But
both of the movies, but Nemo, that's why. I don't care. Well, I shouldn't say I don't care, but it's not the same as Nemo to me.
But my thing is, it's not even nostalgia for me with this one. It's just like, there were just a few like little moments throughout the movie where I was like, oh, genuine entertainment. Like I was
right.
Really
but I agree though. It never really like
goes. It never felt like worthy of existence.
Oh God. What happened there?
What happened?
No, it's still going. Okay. I don't know what. We have 4 minutes left apparently. This is a piece of shit camera.
Piece of shit camera.
Look. Here's the thing about it. Basically what you said. None of the highs ever got anywhere near the first movie, which I believe is the exact same thing you said about Dory and Nemo.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, because how much they love the first movie, because how much they love these characters, are essentially going to propel this movie to a higher status than Finding Dory.
Yeah.
Just because of the explosions and characters and action sequences. And it's funny. It's good. So, yeah, I'm already bitter. Thank you.
Okay, what did you like about the
film? It was good.
It was good. The fact that you can't say what you like.
Jack I already told Jack was great.
Okay.
I enjoyed the Mr. Mom stuff. It didn't bother me as much as it did you. I was entertained. And yeah, just watching the characters again. I
mean, I was entertained, but I was never like compelled in any way, you know? Like there were some like genuinely great emotional moments within.
You want to talk about
incredible.
You want to use the word compelling? Go watch Hereditary. That is stirring.
That's disturbing. That's the word for that.
Right. But it's Incredibles is a good time in the theaters. But it's not gonna live up in.
For me, with these Pixar sequels, I still haven't found one where I'm just like, wow.
And you never will. You never will.
I feel like I can.
You never will.
It's possible.
At this point, Peter. At this point, it's not gonna happen. You're already gonna hate the next one that comes out. So
listen. Oh, Toy Story 4.
Yeah, you say fuck that movie.
No,
exactly.
Yeah.
So we all knew you were never gonna like this. You knew it deep down. You were never gonna like this. I
could, if they did it right, I could have. If there was more there, just character-wise and story-wise. It's possible. It's possible. There are movies I say that I would hate,
it's possible, but it's unlikely.
Okay, I agree with that.
Highly unlikely, if that. But for what it's worth, I think Kyle would have loved this movie.
I think Kyle.
Whenever he sees it, of course. And I guess it'll be what everyone sees Finding Dory as. I'll see this movie just for revenge because I'm petty like that. Anything else?
Finding Dory is just
It's
not.
great.
No.
I love it.
It's
beautiful.
It's so whatever.
It says whatever is Incredibles 2. There you go. There we go. Now I got mine.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I would still recommend it.
Right?
but-
Yeah, of course, yeah. Go watch it. It's a great family movie. Also, Illumination can go to hell. Just to close out the show.
Yeah, I
That
think
Grinch
that's-
trailer is horrific, and I would spit in its face. Anything else?
No, I think that's fair.
That's good. All right, then, guys. See you next time. Yeah. Bye-bye.